So let's drop some acid and watch some trippy ass shit. And period blood. Ugh. Playdurizm, which is not a word, but whatever, is brought to us by director Jim Degger and stars Austin Chun and Jim Degger. So this movie is fucking out there. Let's just go ahead and get that out of the way right now. It's got a whole lot of underlying themes and hidden subtext, or at least it thinks it does. How to explain this? So Demir, played by Jim Degger, wakes up one day in an apartment and he has no memory of how he got there, who he is, or what's going on. He finds Andrew, played by Austin Chun, and a young lady friend in the apartment as well, and they seem to know who he is. Oh yeah, and there's a pig running around the apartment too, but that doesn't really make any sense until maybe a little bit closer to the end of the movie. And they both seem kind of chill with the fact that he doesn't remember shit, like, hey, this just happens all the time, I guess. Well, Andrew is. The girl, not so much. She clearly has some jealousy issues when it comes to Andrew and pretty much anybody else, which is somewhat understandable in this case because Demir clearly has some feelings for Andrew. Now, Andrew is kind of like this Chris Evans looking kind of perfect guy, and Demir, not so much. And from there, we spend the rest of the movie kind of learning about these characters, I suppose. They go out to clubs, they have dinner, they watch movies, they kill some people, sew up wounds with dental floss, make breakfast, you know, regular everyday shit. But we constantly get the feeling that there is something else going on here. There's something more that we don't know yet. Characters will like glitch in and out every now and then, and just shit overall is just really fucking weird. And that's this movie until more or less the ending, when we find out exactly what really is going on and why Degger can't remember what's going on. So yeah, this fucking movie, man, is, yeah, it's really out there. It's visually striking. It has a great look. It just overall looks really cool. It's got style for days. But unfortunately, it is lacking in the substance department. The movie tries really hard to have something to say, but unfortunately, it just kind of comes across as a bit hollow. It looks great, it just doesn't have much to say. Now, there is a message here, and that message is heard loud and clear. I just don't know if the hour and a half it took to watch this movie was really worth hearing that message. Basically, it deals with trauma and a bit of obsession and how we deal with those things. Now, I don't want to say much more for those of you that do want to watch the movie. I don't want to ruin it for you. And like I said, the message is there. There's just not much else there. The movie definitely has a shock ending, and it does bring things into perspective, but it doesn't add the substance that the movie thinks that it does. Sure, I understand what's going on now, and that's great, but I don't think I needed an hour and a half to figure that out. While the movie is pretty shallow, I admittedly was never bored, and a lot of that has to do with the brisk pace and just the whole out there nature of pretty much everything that happens in this movie. There is a character that calls someone a little dick pimple, so you know, that's something. Austin Chun, who I've never seen in anything before that I'm aware of, did a really good job here. I think the guy's got a bright future ahead of him, and I do look forward to seeing what he's in next. However, I think he is probably going to be compared in the looks department to Chris Evans a bit, because the guy is like a spitting image. If you told me he was a Chris Evans impersonator for life, I'd totally believe you. Jim Degger does a fine job directing here, though I think a lot of the appeal of this movie, the visual appeal, is due to the cinematographer, but the director takes part in that as well, and I think that overall he did a fine job. However, taking on the role of Degger as well, I think may have been a bit too much. He probably wasn't the best choice, especially for the lead of the film. His performance just comes across as a bit fake and pretty amateurish, and it does kind of drag the whole thing down when it comes to the performances in the film. Now, this isn't the most violent and gory movie ever made by a long shot, but there are a few scenes in this movie that include some stuff that admittedly were a bit gag-inducing. There's lots of stitching, and it all looks good as far as like realistic, but it all also looks very uncomfortable. There's also some drinking of fluids that was really tough to watch. That was Ugh. It's also got a really cool soundtrack. Like, this soundtrack's pretty awesome, but that does kind of go along with that whole style over substance thing that I was saying earlier. Guys, Playdurizm is less of a movie and more of an experience. Visually, the movie is fantastic. It has some really cool shots and overall just is a treat for the eyes. The cinematographer here did a fantastic job, and the soundtrack is great as well, but there's just not much here in the substance department. It's all style, and style's great, but you gotta have something. Your story's gotta have something to say, and this movie just doesn't have a whole lot to say. It thinks it does, but it just doesn't. So if a whole bunch of style with not a lot of substance sounds like a good time to you, then Playdurizm's probably worth checking out on streaming.
Across the street.
I didn't hate this movie, but it just didn't have as much as I was wanting it to. I wanted it to be something more. So if you can live with that, check it out one night, and you'll at least have a very visually entertaining time with it. So there it is, guys, my review of Playdurizm. Still not a word. If you enjoyed, want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon in the description below and become a jarhead and get some of the awesome benefits that go along with that, like these guys, and possibly join my top tier and become a bad motherfucker like my man Greg. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Prague.
Why does everyone in this house want to kill someone?
Now, I mentioned it in the beginning and a little bit in the middle of the review, but I didn't want to harp on it too much. But there is a part in this movie where a character, a female character, extracts, and we get to see all this by the way, period blood into a shot glass and then hands it to another character and they, you know, take a shot of it. And I gotta say, while this effect, I mean, God knows what this was that this person drank. I doubt it was period blood, but it was a very effective effect. And when I saw it, really, it was just like, I wish I had a mirror so I could have seen my face, because I'm sure it was something like, because I get that I guess some people out there are into that kind of thing, and I'm not here to judge anybody, but it's just not my thing. And I gotta say, for me personally, it was just honestly kind of gag-inducing. Like, thinking about it now, oh, what the fuck? Who does that? I mean, I don't want to judge. I'm trying not to judge here, but god damn.